There's a place in the central Philippines where the land does something it has no right to do. It rises, not gradually, the way most mountains do. Slowly, gently, giving you time to adjust. Here, the ground launches itself upward in sharp, repeating blades. Like something beneath the earth is trying to tear its way out. This is Osmeña Peak. And the moment you reach the top, you understand that this place was not built for human beings. The summit sits at around 3,350 feet. That doesn't sound extreme, but the geometry of this mountain is what makes it unlike anything else on Earth. The ridgeline doesn't smooth out at the top. It narrows down to 1 foot, sometimes 2. A razor's edge of ancient limestone, tens of millions of years old, stretching out in front of you with open air on both sides. Here's what most people don't know about Osmeña Peak. It used to be an ocean floor. The rock beneath your feet, the same rock you're balancing on with nothing but sky on either side, was once submerged beneath a prehistoric sea. Over 20 million years, tectonic forces slowly pushed it upward. The ocean dissolved and carved the limestone into these sharp, repeating teeth as it rose. What looks like a mountain was once the bottom of the world. Strong winds cut across the upper trails with enough force to create a faint vibration, a sensation climbers describe as the mountain breathing beneath them. And standing there, on a ridge barely wide enough for both feet, with clouds moving below you and nothing above but open sky, it becomes very easy to believe that. Now, imagine descending from that ridge and walking into a canyon so deep that the sun never fully reaches the bottom. Panganan Falls drops nearly 300 feet, straight down, inside an ancient basalt canyon formed by volcanic activity millions of years ago. The sound alone is staggering. Sound levels inside the canyon have been recorded between 75 and 85 decibels. Roughly the same as standing next to a running lawnmower. But this isn't mechanical noise. It's water. It's nature. Amplified by rock walls that have been shaped to echo every frequency back at you from every direction at once. The mist is so thick, it creates its own weather system. Small rainbows form when light enters the canyon at the right angle. Not above you, but at eye level, sometimes below. And local communities who have lived near these falls for generations carry stories about this place that go deeper than the water itself. Stories of escape, of courage, of people who came here not to see the falls, but to feel something they couldn't find anywhere else. That's the thing about the Philippines that no travel guide will ever capture. The landscape isn't just visually stunning, it carries weight, history, memory. Every rock face here has a story pressed into it across millions of years, and the people who live here have learned to read them. The Philippines sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire. If you don't know what that means, it means the ground beneath the Philippines is not stable. It never has been. The entire archipelago exists because of volcanic and tectonic forces so powerful they lifted a seafloor out of the ocean and scattered it into 7,000 pieces across the Pacific. And some of those forces are still very much active. Taal volcano is one of the most dangerous volcanoes on Earth, and it looks nothing like what you'd expect. Most people imagine a volcano as a towering mountain. Taal sits inside a lake. Its crater's inside another crater lake. It's a volcano inside a lake, on an island inside another lake. A geological structure so layered and complex that scientists still debate exactly how to classify it. But make no mistake about what it is capable of. Geological records document more than 30 major eruptions since the 1500s. In January 2020, Taal produced an ash column that rose nearly 9 miles into the sky. Within 24 hours, ground cracks more than 6 inches wide had opened in the surrounding area. The eruption produced volcanic lightning. Bolts of electricity generated by the collision of ash particles in the plume, visible for miles. Visitors who stand near the shoreline today can see light plumes of white gas rising from the crater. The ground trembles faintly underfoot, and the water of the crater lake, stained an eerie greenish yellow by dissolved sulfur, reflects back a sky that looks completely normal, as if nothing here is wrong. That contrast is what makes Taal so unsettling. It looks peaceful, and it is anything but. If Taal is the volcano that hides its power, Mount Mayon is the one that wears it openly. Mayon is considered one of the most perfectly symmetrical volcanoes on Earth. Its cone rises in a near-perfect geometric form from the surrounding lowlands, and that symmetry is not accidental. It is the result of centuries of eruptions, each one adding another layer of lava to the structure, slowly building it into the shape it holds today. Historic eruptions here have produced pyroclastic flows, superheated mixtures of gas, ash, and rock, moving at over 60 miles per hour down the mountain's flanks. Lava temperatures have exceeded 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, leaving dark vertical bands on the mountain's face that are visible from miles away. But there is something about Mayon that the data doesn't capture. In several recorded eruptions, pressurized gas escaping from the crater has produced a high-pitched metallic sound heard miles away, unlike anything in the natural world. Witnesses describe it as the mountain screaming. Geologists describe it as extreme internal pressure finding release. Both descriptions are accurate. Water in the Philippines doesn't always behave the way water is supposed to. It emerges from solid rock with no river above it. It falls from heights that create their own weather. It carves through stone in ways that take millions of years, and leaves behind something so beautiful it looks invented. Kawasan Falls is one of the most visually striking places in the Philippines, and its color is the first thing that stops you. The water is turquoise, not the pale blue-green of tropical ocean water. A deep, vivid, almost unreal turquoise, the color of something lit from below. The cause is calcium carbonate from the limestone it flows through, dissolving into the water and catching light in a way that produces that color consistently, year-round, regardless of weather or season. The underwater visibility inside the pools below the falls extends 10 to 15 feet. The water is that clear, that clean, because it doesn't come from a surface river carrying soil and sediment. It comes from underground springs that have filtered through limestone for years before emerging here. The limestone shelves that terrace the pools are themselves a record. Layers of rock slowly built up by the same mineral-rich water over thousands of years, each one a geological timestamp. Aliwagwag Falls is something else entirely. It is not one waterfall, it is hundreds. Early survey notes from the beginning of the last century described Aliwagwag as a clear landmark visible from a distance, because its stepped, tiered form is unlike anything in the surrounding landscape. Some levels reach widths of 50 feet, creating broad sheets of water that flow across exposed rock faces before dropping to the next level. Then the next. Then the next. The continuous mist generated by this cascade supports more than 110 plant species in the immediate surrounding area. An entire micro-ecosystem that exists only because of the permanent moisture cloud created by the falls. On June 12, 1991, Philippine Independence Day, Mount Pinatubo erupted. What followed was the second largest volcanic eruption of the 20th century. The eruption column rose nearly 22 miles into the sky. The pressure released in those hours was so extreme that the summit of the mountain, which had stood at 5,725 feet, collapsed inward within hours, dropping nearly 900 feet as the magma chamber beneath it emptied. A mountain lost almost 1,000 feet of its own height in a single afternoon. Ash layers more than 4 inches thick hardened into gray surfaces across an area covering hundreds of square miles. Pyroclastic flows buried entire towns. Nearly 10 centimeters of ash and sulfur dioxide entered the stratosphere, enough to circle the planet. Global temperatures dropped by roughly half a degree Celsius the following year. Pinatubo didn't just reshape the Philippines, it briefly changed the climate of the Earth. Today, where the summit once stood, there is a crater lake. The water is turquoise, the same mineral-stained color as Kawasan Falls. But here, the beauty sits inside a landscape of ash, gray rock, and silence. The contrast is almost impossible to process. This is one of the most devastating geological events in modern history. And what it left behind looks from the rim of the crater like something out of a dream. That is the Philippines. The violence and the beauty are never far apart. Sometimes they are the same thing. Mount Pulag is the highest mountain in Luzon and the third highest in the Philippines, and it holds one of the most surreal visual experiences on Earth. Above the tree line, the mountain slopes are covered in dwarf bamboo grass that stretches across open ridges for miles. When clouds fill the valleys below at dawn and the sun rises above them, hikers on the upper slopes look out over a sea of white, an ocean of cloud sitting hundreds of feet below them, with other mountain peaks rising through it like islands. Local legend describes Pulag as a stairway to the sky. Standing there at dawn, that description feels less like mythology and more like straightforward observation. The foundation of this mountain is cooled magma between 20 and 30 million years old. A 2015 survey recorded an unusual atmospheric phenomenon unique to Pulag. Strong horizontal cloud waves moving across the grass slopes near 10,000 feet, creating thin bands of moving light that sweep across the ground like something alive. Climbers report noticeable changes in their breathing as they cross the exposed upper slopes, not from altitude alone, but from the combination of thin air and persistent wind that makes every step feel like the mountain is pushing back against your weight. Some of the people who have climbed Pulag describe it as the closest they have ever come to understanding what it means to be somewhere truly outside the world they know.